Thank you so much for joining. It's been an interesting few days. Lots gone on in the world, with obviously with the elections as we know, and then also I got a message today actually that said that apparently it looks like seems like they've got a vaccine sort of in place that will hopefully be up and ready fairly soon. Apparently, like a 90 odd percent success rate. So hey, I'll take it. I'll take it for now. It's exciting news and exciting sort of, well, good news at least, which I think we all need during this difficult time. Now, the reason why I decided to go with this particular topic of the not so obvious things on Safari, it sounds quite obvious, but I think a lot of the times hi Gerry, great to see you on here. Um, I think a lot of the times we get so focused and so stuck on the obvious things on Safari, and I mean I've been guilty of it. I think a lot of us have been guilty of it. Just posting the wildlife stuff, the romantic stuff on Safari. It is obviously like one of the main reasons why people do come on a safari is for the wildlife. But I really do feel that there's a massive opportunity to now going forward to discuss the not so obvious things on safari, and that's what I want to chat to you guys about. And it's weird how these sort of times have got you thinking. It's my last safari was end of March, so it's been about 7 months since I've been out on safari with guests. And it's bizarre to think it doesn't quite feel right or feel real, but when you get into that routine of just traveling, you get home, you get to the office for a few days, and you're back on safari again. It is very easy to sort of almost lose track on what you've captured on safari, what sort of content you've produced, whether it be videos or photos. And I find myself now sort of sitting back looking at what I've done in the last sort of few years, and for me there's a big part that I'm missing, that I want to tell more of the story of what happens behind the scenes, and sometimes even not always like only the good news on safari. And like a few days ago, I think it was last week sometime, Gerry and I did a podcast on I think it was called "When Do You Believe It?" Because like a lot of these times I mean we sell the romance in safari, right? That's what we do. We tell you how amazing it is, but at what point do you stop believing? Like, and I use that analogy of if you buying a car or a house, whatever it may be, the salesperson will always try and tell you like everything that's great about it. And one of the first things I do now when I buy something, or when I'm looking to purchase something big, is to ask the person, what don't you like about it? And I think we have to be honest with ourselves, because there's not I can guarantee every single place that I've been on safari on, there will be something that I don't like. It might be something small. It might be the horrible airplane that you have to fly to get in there, or the bad airports on the way back, or it's too hot or too cold, whatever it may be. Every single place has got something that you don't like about it, right? And that is definitely something that I want to, when I go on safari again, is to bring that back, bring that authenticity back to it again. And I think a lot of the guys that are on safari now, I think they're missing a trick, because they're almost posting the same stuff that they posted before this whole COVID thing came about. And I really do think there's a trick to be missed here. I'm sure you guys must be sick and tired of seeing the same thing over and over again on safari. You see the guys that, okay, good morning from Sabi Sands or wherever you might be. Here's me with an animal. Here's me with a lion. It just gets the same old stuff over and over again. So in this webinar, I wanted to, like I said, discuss a little bit less obvious things with you guys. And I'm just going to open up my screen here. And one of the first things would be even starting up from an airport. It's a lot of the time people. I mean, I've never posted like anything from airports. It's And it can be quite a daunting place for a lot of people, especially if it's an airport that you don't know. This is Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, which I thought I'd use as an example because we're actually busy hosting our first private guided safari in Kenya at the moment. Andrew Beck is there now with two of our clients. They're doing 4 nights in Amboseli and then 6 nights in the Masai Mara. So, I think just sharing a little bit more of the experiences around these airports. I'm going to try and see if I can get my the remote thing to work. It just bear with me for a second. Right. So as you can see, usually after our safari, whether it be like a Mara peak or off-peak season, or one of the Amboseli trips, we would usually get dropped off in that sort of right-hand corner, somewhere around there. And then there'll be trolleys and things that you collect. You walk through here and then into the airport over there. So you see there's quite a few different terminals, but your guide or the person picking or dropping off will know, depending on which airline you fly, which terminal you'll go in. If you're traveling with us, then either Billy or Mercy, I mean, if you guys have met them, they are phenomenal people. They really are super cool. They've just had a little baby girl as well a few months ago. They'll take you through this whole process. They'll drop you off. They'll make sure you get into the right terminal. And then in there, there's like a little sort of security setup. Now, this is what I want to try and get to because, we obviously travel through this airport quite a bit. And I think there's a few things for me that has kind of helped me in the past and things that every time I go through that airport now that I do almost religiously. That's Billy, So like I mentioned, as soon as you land in Kenya, in Nairobi, either Billy or Mercy will wait for you at the airport. They'll pick you up, help you with your luggage and things, and then take you through to either one of the hotels that you might be staying at. Or if you're just going straight there to board a connecting flight into the Masai Mara, then they'll take you there as well. So Billy is definitely a guy that I want to have more conversations with him when I get to the Mara or to Kenya again. He's a incredibly bright guy, great sense of humor, and I really want to bring him into the fold and just sort of introduce him a little bit more to the world of social media. I mean, like a lot of you guys that have been following us would have seen a bit of Billy here and there, but I'd really love to get onto a proper conversation with him and get him involved. So here's the airport. So once you've entered, from where you sort of pick the luggage up, there's actually like a very annoying. I shouldn't really say that. I suppose it's very, very necessary. But there's a security check as you come in. So once you go in, you've got your trolley with your bags. You're going to take your belt off. Got to take your shoes off, and also your bags also go through that little conveyor belt and through that scanner, which I'll check there. And then as soon as you've collected your bags, then you've got obviously your check-in counters over here. But what I don't understand, and this is talk about one of those things that you don't like about being on safari, or especially to Kenya, I always look up to that flight back. I won't lie to you. It's that airport, man, when it's busy, it can be absolute nightmare. And also purely for the sake of, this taking off your shoes and putting them back on. And it's kind of funny for me because, there doesn't seem to be like a sort of set standard across board. If you fly through Johannesburg, you don't have to take your shoes off anywhere. Whereas here, you take your shoes off, then you've got your check-in counters where you can then check in your luggage. You've got passport control, which is just in the corner there, you clear customs. And then you go up with the escalators. And then there's another security system where if you've got any hand luggage, they scan that through. Shoes and belts have to come off again, and you go into these into this little room that sort of scans around you to make sure you've got nothing, no weapons or anything hidden, and only then can you proceed, to the duty-free areas and to the lounges and so forth. So it is a bit of a pain to get into the airport, and I really want to try. I think the difficult thing is it can be quite manic, but I really do want to make a point of documenting this process, because I think, yes, it's not the romantic side, and it's not the part that people want to necessarily see, and you won't get all the likes on Instagram. But I think there's a tremendous amount of value in just taking people through the airports and just sort of making them sort of giving them some peace of mind that it's not a complete hole. It is a pretty decent airport, but you got to sort of have a bit of patience, especially, like I said, especially during the busy times when that airport it can be a bit frustrating. Right, so passport control. More often than not, there's not someone working at every single one of them. Usually one or two, if you're lucky. And then, once you've cleared customs and things here, this is the little sort of exit that you go in, and then the escalators up before you get to the second security system. So you can see, very neat, very well organized. But we always say you got to get used to African time. Things do happen a bit slower, and the more sort of irritated you get, and the more you're trying to speed up the process, the longer it's actually going to take. Okay. And then some of the hotels. So this is one of the hotels that's very, very close to the airport. This is the Crown Plaza. And for a lot of the people, if you've been to Nairobi before, you would have seen that that airport. It's not an airport where you want to be stuck for 5 or 6 hours. Believe me, it's I would say maybe 2 to 3 hours max. Anything longer than that, as soon as you're going to 5, 6 hours, we would highly recommend that you book like a day room. Our team in the office, they're phenomenal at doing that. They'll book everything for you, and it's literally like a 3 or 4 minute drive from the airport. So you're right there. It's got a beautiful gym. There's a swimming pool, and there's a beautiful restaurant where you can go and sit and enjoy a meal. Instead of sitting at Nairobi Airport, where there's 2 coffee shops down at the bottom, and then there's like a fast food joint upstairs, which it gets hot, it gets humid. You often cramped for space, and like I said, for 1 or 2 hours it might be fine, but anything longer than that, you kind of want to sort of book in a hotel. There are some lounges there as well. So if you Kenya Airways, they've got a very nice lounge in the airport, which is well worth it. Good food and everything. But as a second option, the Crown Plaza is fantastic. Yeah, you can see the beautiful pool that they have, nice little bar area. And what we usually do, so a lot of people often ask why, when they land into Nairobi, why they don't stay at the Crown Plaza and rather stay at the Western. So in the mornings, like when we fly to Masai Mara, right, the flights are usually about, I need to remember this now, I think it's about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. So you can, from Crown Plaza to the Western or Wilson Airport, it's probably about sort of half an hour, 40 minutes, depending on traffic. So the last thing you want to do is that morning when you fly out to the Mara to be stuck in traffic and stressed out about delaying or missing your flight into the Masai Mara. So that's why we try and do that. You stay at the Western Hotel, which is like I said, and right across from Wilson Airport. So at least for the day of departure, you wake up, you have breakfast, cup of coffee, and then you've got literally a 2 or 3 minute drive, and you're at the Wilson Airport. But most certainly on the way back, whether you're overnighting in Nairobi or, like I said, if you've got a late evening flight, highly recommend Crown Plaza. Beautiful hotel, and very, very comfortable. Yeah, mentioned like the food and things. It's great, and again, it's a difficult thing to always to document these things all the time, especially when you're with clients. But I really want to try and get Billy and even Mercy involved to kind of help me and help us with this going forward. Just to showcase a little bit more about hotels and about the offerings that they have before you go on safari. Okay, and then when you get to Wilson Airport, so like I mentioned, for like majority, like all of our flights into the Masai Mara will be these planes with governors. And what we usually do is we charter 2 of these planes. One will be for our guests, and then the other one for extra luggage, right? So all our luggage, extra luggage. You see there's actually a compartment at the bottom here. So this is where the majority of the luggage goes. And then small things like laptops, maybe smaller camera bags can go at the back there. What I would recommend, a lot of these chartered companies, is that you don't have bags with wheels on them. It's often like those things get stuck in here and often rip, and then nobody's happy to start or end a safari like that. But actually, for the majority of our safaris, a lot of them will use these caravan planes, nice, comfortable, very safe planes to use, except for maybe some of the destinations like maybe Botswana or some parts in Zimbabwe where it might be a smaller aircraft. But for the Mara, going to the Mara, we use these planes, the caravans. Like you see, very comfortable. Like I mentioned, that's your luggage store area. Really, really easy to use, and very very comfortable planes. They really are great. Okay, and that is our media, not our media tent. That's our lounge tent. Things have changed a little bit since the last time I took this photo. This is actually sort of moved and joined up together with the dining tent. But it's again, it's I've tried to sort of keep close attention on that during the last few weeks on social media. And there's very few people posting, about what's happening in the lodge area. Yes, it might be a quick photo here and there of, we're at this lodge or that lodge, but it doesn't really give you an idea of the experience and the vibe in a lodge. One thing I'd love to be able to capture at the Mara camp, or the sounds at night. It is phenomenal, whether it be going in from coming in from game drive and you hear the hippos, to then later on you start hearing hyenas, lions calling. Often there's leopard calling, but to try and have your phone ready for that particular moment can be quite tough. So you almost need I'd love to have a camera that just rolls almost permanently, and just to capture all those sounds and experiences. Of course, it doesn't beat being there yourself, but it would be nice to try and give more of that experience to the people. Okay, again, a lounge, a very comfortable area. There's the bar in the corner over there. Like I said, this has changed a little bit, so the bar faces the dining room now. And if you guys have met Tenke up in the Masai Mara, he pours the best gin and tonic you can possibly ask for. But it's more than that, and these are the sort of the difficult things. It's like to try and capture that feeling of sitting, having that gin and tonic after an evening out, and having these amazing sightings, and listening to these stories from people from all walks of life, but yet with the same passion, which is wildlife and nature. And I hope what I'm saying it makes sense. I just even just to have a camera rolling of these conversations and things happening, because it is so special. I mean, we've seen some incredible things happen in the Mara at our camp. People from, like I mentioned, all walks of life. People that have gone through tremendous amount of heartache. And speaking to these guys in the Mara, and you can almost see there's a change of mindset. There's almost like a switch that's gone on. These guys just tend to have that knack. They're most genuine people you could ever ask for. but again, that's the difficulty for me, is like, how do you capture that? And I've had a chat with a few guys, and sort of try and get ideas of how we can capture these unique moments to try and showcase what it's like. Ideally, we'd obviously like to have you join us, but of course, not everyone can, and yeah, we'll try our best to capture these experiences for you. Right now, our beds or our tents in the Masai Mara, and for me, like the most amazing thing about this is, people would often arrive, and like, I mean, a lot of these people are, used to staying at the biggest and fanciest lodges and hotels in the world. So get there and they think, like, I'm not staying in that. Are you crazy? And like the first night, second night, by the end of the week, they don't want to stay in anything else, because the beds, I promise you, those beds are super, super, super comfortable. And the great thing is, and like, maybe I'm giving away a little secret, but in the evenings, like during the like cool evenings, because that's a great thing about the Mara, right? In the evenings, it cools down a little bit. They'll put in like a little hot water bottle for you in the beds, and it's when it's cold, maybe in the Mara not so much, but in like, if you go on safari in winter in Southern Africa, so if you go from about May till about August, you go to South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, trust me, it gets cold. It gets cold early in the mornings and in the evenings. To get into bed and have that hot water bottle next to you is a thing of beauty, and it's a magical feeling, and what I love about these tents, and like for me, this is where the experience and the memories come from, is you can see it's open, so, but there is that gauze, right? So insects and things can't get in, but I can almost guarantee you at night you're going to hear hippos eating, chomping away. They often feed like right around the tent, but also, like, I mean, I've made this a thing now. When I go to the Masai Mara, I'll set my alarm at different times, like at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and just sit and lie in bed for like 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, and just listen. The sounds are phenomenal. And I think I've got a photo here just to show you guys, if you haven't been to our camp yet. It's on the Mara River. Like, when we say on the Mara River, if you go out of your tent and you take maybe about 15 or 20 steps forward, you're going to be in the Masai Mara, in the Mara River. So you can imagine the sounds. If you get big rains, you get that water flowing, but the hippos and like the bird life, the owls, it is simply breathtaking. So there you can see the Mara River over there. So this is our dining tent. And again, like the conversations that go around here, there is a special kind of feeling, and I'm sure you guys would have felt it. Everyone's got their sort of happy place that you're going to return to. It might even be at your own house, but there's a kind of a feeling when you sit in those chairs and you have Dixon and the ladies announce the menu for you, that you can't describe it to anyone. It's a feeling of content. You can almost, like, you can see all our guests that return year after year, that they've got this sort of like look of content on their face. There's that grin, and like it just feels like they're home. So again, how do you capture these moments? Like one photograph, it can give you a bit of an idea, but I really want to try and make it a mission to try and capture the essence of these evenings around the dinner table, because there's some incredible stories, like a lot of laughter and some great friendships that have been made around this table. This is also, this is probably one of the most special occasions for me, I think, in during the week in the Maras. Usually the last night, the staff will do, Dixon will give us a bit of a chat about the culture, the Maasai culture, and what they believe in. And what I really, really love about this, and this comes back to, when do you believe it? What Dixon says, probably not everyone wants to hear, if that makes sense. There are some things in the Maasai culture that from people from first world countries will kind of it'll take you back a little bit. But that's the way they live. It's authentic. He's not shy to explain why they do it, and they're open to questions. And it's not a fake thing. There's so many, like when you drive through some of these villages in Tanzania and in Kenya, you've got guys with Maasai outfits and things, but it's just not the real thing. A lot of the time it's done for a bit of money. With these guys, it's the real thing. I think this, I'm sure you guys have seen maybe some of the videos or some of the photos of it. I think a part of this we've really tapped into, and we've been able to share some of that experience. But I still think there's more, and you can almost see when people sit around the fire and these guys chat and they dance and they tell their stories, where people get lost. And yes, you get lost with wildlife as well, but it's got to be so much more than that. It's this for me, and a lot of people that return is for this. It's absolutely incredible experience and amazing to be part of those people's lives. And like sitting around the fire, just speaking to these guys, truly, truly phenomenal. This is probably one of my favorite photos that I've captured in the Mara Triangle. This is me with Dixon, and like again, the last evening they'll do this this goat on the fire for us. Now, people often, like you by no ways or means are you forced to have goat. So if you're vegetarian, all good, no worries. Or if you don't like goat, that's no problem. The guys will have other options for you. But it's an authentic experience, and you almost feel like you almost get that sense of you've been accepted in a way, which is like very, very humbling. It really, really is. So these guys would do the goat for us the same way that they would do it in the village, and then they would cut it. So we'll all sort of sit around the fire. They'll cut pieces and sort of hand out pieces of meat. Now with COVID, we'll probably have to look at alternative options. But hey, I'm holding on to that vaccine part that I saw in the news. But again, this for me, this needs to be captured more. This is like what the experience is all about. There, Gerry, I saw you joined today, so I thought let me get a photo of you in there. So, like I mentioned, why are we scared to show the frustrating elements in on a safari? I think it needs to be shared. There needs to be times where you say, the things are not going according to plan. This was us waiting for a crossing in the Mara Triangle. Now, if you've waited for a crossing, you will know that it is like the most amazing thing to witness when they do cross, but it is the most frustrating thing when they just stand at the river and they waiting. I think on this particular day, I can't remember how many hours we waited. And you can see in people's faces. And that's why for me, like, I wanted to show this, and I wanted to, and like sometimes things do go horribly wrong on safari. You just have that bad luck, and that's always going to be the case when you're dealing with wild animals, when you're dealing with nature, and when you're in Africa and when you're traveling, there's things can go wrong. Your flights might be delayed, which means you might miss the next flight, whatever it may be. But you got to have that sort of positive energy and sort of just realize again that you're on holiday, right? So this was, you can see everyone pretty sick and tired of these wildebeest by now. But then also there's the good side of it. Once they crossed, it was thumbs up, and like the mood was just lifted once again. And I think for me, this tells people more of a story than the animals itself. It's fine, but it's great to showcase the photos of the crossings and things like that. But I think it's been done so many times that you kind of need to play on the emotions a little bit, if that makes sense. I'm gonna just have a look. I see there's a few questions that have come in. I'm just gonna have a look at the questions and then go from there. Let's have a quick look. Gerry says, I've made so many like-minded people in the Mara now that I now consider my friends. Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Gerry, 100%. Gerry says she'll take the frustration to be there again soon. Gerry, I would take anything, literally anything at the moment to be in the Mara now. It's look, I think if anything, it's going to make us appreciate these things a bit more, and that's why I think the not so obvious things really come into play, because I think it's going to be more about it's going to be more than just the wildlife for people now. And I think I mentioned that in my last webinar as well. I really hope that with all of this happening, my feeling is people are going to be looking for more exclusive places, which, our Mara camp is the perfect opportunity. Social distancing is not a problem there at all. But it also gives you opportunity to sit around the fire and have that drink and have that piece of quiet, and take it all in, and not just worry about the wildlife and the animals and the sightings and things, but really the overall experience, which is so important. I see someone raised their hand here. I just want to see quickly if there's any other questions. Marie, yes. Marie says, I had a trip planned to Kenya and the Mara. I should be there right now, but instead I'm dealing with Hurricane Eta. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Can't wait to get back to Africa. Marie, 100%. It's we had a chat about it in the office today, and I really do feel, and I know, like a lot of Europe and the States have gone into, or no, the States I'm not so sure of, but I know a lot of Europe have got into lockdown again. But I really feel that we are starting to see some positive changes happening slowly but surely. It's I think Botswana opened their borders now. Zimbabwe opened up their borders, so more options are definitely becoming available now. So fingers crossed. Like I said, I saw that thing about the vaccine. So yeah, fingers crossed, and let's hope for the best. Okay, I don't see any further questions from there. So let's go on. Sorry, let me just get these guys out the way. Okay, and then the fun element of safari. It's something that I think often gets forgotten. A lot of the times we're traveling with people that we've never met before, and you're kind of like in that little bubble, and you're almost too scared to sort of enjoy yourself a lot. And I think that is something that I love doing. I love it when people sort of get out of their comfort zones and just really have an absolute blast. This particular day, we were lucky that we captured all of these. People were just, you could almost just feel that sort of right mood. People were willing to do anything, and it's a fantastic, same group, just a lot of fun, and I think it's these moments that you almost get, and I think if it's often up to us as well to almost set the precedent. If you sort of energetic, and you encourage people to get out of their comfort zone, even like quiet people that are very sort of keep things to themselves, eventually they start opening up, and you end up having a lot of fun. And for me, this is one of my favorite photos as well. It's such a blast, and that's what memories are made of. And then again, the friendships, like Gerry said, she's made a lot of friends over the past few years, or she's met a lot of people now over the past few years, who she now calls friends. And I think that's so true. Especially on safari, you're spending a lot of the times in the vehicles. If you're going into the Mara, you can often be spending full days out in the vehicles. So you really get to make like close friends, spend a lot of time together. And I mean, these guys in Kenya just put such a big smile on my face. Jimmy and Sammy, and yeah, I mean, for me, this again, this is what it's all about. I'd much rather, and this is actually like the weird thing. I would much rather go on safari now and capture these moments of people enjoying themselves, but people interacting, than I would take wildlife photos. It's bizarre. It's crazy. Big mind shift change. Again, me with Dixon and Tenke, amazing people, and incredible memories. This again for me, like going into Masai Mara with a group of friends, like a family, and taking the time. This was during the peak migration time in the Masai Mara. Incredible game viewing, yet all these people really wanted to do is grab a drink, have an ice cold gin and tonic, and take a photo with the sunset. And I mean, that is, you're not going to get a photo like that again anywhere. Like there's the Mara is so quintessential and so unique that there's enough animals that you can sort of take a step back and just really enjoy a sunset, and get out the vehicle, have a gin and tonic, and make the most of that experience. This, you speak to a lot of the people in this group. It was one group of friends for a 50th birthday. This is one of their highlights from the week. They saw multiple crossings. They saw, I think, 2 or 3 lion kills. They saw leopard. They saw cheetah. You name it. This is one of their favorite moments, and that really stands out for me. That just, again, I think showcases what I'm trying to say in this webinar. Again, a family, a couple of years back, the Evers family, they've since returned like another two or three times, I think. Again, we've asked the guys to set up drinks and snacks in the Mara. Again, I think this was the last afternoon. So I mean, they had the good game viewing already, but it was just that sort of quiet moment to enjoy a snack, enjoy a drink, and watch the sun go down in the Masai Mara, which I think is so special. I'm so glad that as a family, they decided to do that, because you often see families, and I think nowadays technology is a big thing. It's a big thing to blame, but it's also part of our lives, right? Families can often be sort of pulled apart quite a bit from a communication point of view. Often people sitting around the dinner table and everyone's on their phones. I see it almost on a I won't say a daily basis, because then it's going to be my house, but a lot of the times when we go out for dinner, you see that. And like I've tried to make that a point, at least in my house, not to have phones when there's meals and things. But it's great to see a family like us in the bush, really sort of absorbing nature and just sort of speaking to each other, creating memories. I think that's what it is. It's creating memories. And I think next time when we go out on safari is we know, I mean, the animals and things, that's a given. That's obvious. That they're going to be around, they're going to be there, but let's not make the whole safari just about the animals. Let's focus more on the less obvious things when we go on safari. Make those small moments, that sitting around the fire, that speaking to people from different walks of life, getting to know the staff. Let's really make that the reason why we go on safari again. That's what I'm looking forward to most. I really am. Maury, I see you've got your hand up there. If you've got a question, please feel free to shout. If you guys have any other questions, Or if you'd like to add to something, if there's something, what mindset are you guys going in when you're going to travel again? Are you still sort of focused from a photographic point of view, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Or have you looked at your photos and sort of thought, I want to do something a little bit different from a photographic point of view next time I get out? I think it's important that we don't go and create the same things over and over again. I think that's very important. So Gerry says, what about the outdoor shower? Unreal experience. 100%, Gerry. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. If you like, the list is like endless. The outdoor showers. We've got these bucket showers in the Mara, right? So you can, Dixon or Tenke will ask you what time you'd like to have a shower, and then they'll fill the bucket up for you. So you could have it after dinner or before dinner, first thing in the morning, midday, whatever it might be. But I prefer to always have mine sort of after dinner, just before I go to bed. And you have that shower with the stars, and again, the sounds of wildlife and nature around you. It's phenomenal. You almost want to put a bucket shower at your house, but then you don't really quite have the same sounds that go with it, so it doesn't quite feel the same. So Charlotte says, it's my life's mission to get there one day with you guys. Thanks, Charlotte. Really appreciate that, man. It is a special place, and I promise you, it will blow you away. We'll be ready for you. I'm confident. Like next year, hopefully we'll have things up and running there. And next year is actually fully booked, believe it or not. Obviously, with a lot of the trips from this year having been moved over to next year, so a lot of I think there's maybe like 3 or 4 spaces left for the entire peak season, although the off-peak season has got some space available. So Tim says, 100% Johan, wildlife is the main product, but we provide life. We provide lifelong memories, and that is the biggest reward. 100%, Tim, couldn't agree with you more. And it's I don't know if it's because of spending more time on Instagram and looking through photos and things, but a lot of the wildlife stuff has become a bit monotonous in a way. And look, people are always going to be posting that because that's what gets the attention and the likes and all of those things. But I really do feel that there's a big gap, and I'm trying to capture more of these experiences. Tracy says, thanks for this webinar. I really can't wait to get back on safari, preferably with you guys. Thanks, Tracy. That means a lot. Really appreciate that. Guys, it's going to be, I promise you now, it's going to be so rewarding when we go on safari again. I want to, when Andrew comes back, he gets back in about 2 weeks' time, I want to sort of have a bit of an interview with him and just discuss a lot of the questions that you guys might have. I'm sure he'll also be doing a few videos where he answers all those questions. But I think it's an interesting one. Like I've just spoken to Andrew Dankwitz, who's also just come back from Zambia. And a lot of the airports is business as usual. Apart from having the COVID testing done, some places 48, some places 96 hours before the time. Apart from that, it's business as usual. Yeah, ready to get back out there again soon. Let's have a look at that. I don't see any other questions. A quick look here. Yeah, don't see any other questions there. Guys, I think that's pretty much it for me. Thank you so much for your time and for the questions and the comments. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next week, Monday. I'll be doing another one. I'll be discussing some good practices to have on safari. So look forward to seeing you there. That's it from me. Until next time, cheers.